I'm Clara Meath. You may know me from my Instagram art page or my recent graphic novel Mother 47, and your childhood was trash if you didn't watch Wishbone.
For those of you that don't remember, Wishbone was like a mid-90s TV show about a dog teaching literary arts.
Mm-hmm. Teaching classic literature to kids in shockingly small vignettes, the amount they're able to accomplish in a 20-minute, half-hour show, and have a B-plot in the real world that is, like, synchronous, that's, related just enough to create, comparison. It's like, when I agreed to do this, I hadn't thought about this show in so long, for more than a second or so, for more than just one of those little nostalgia blips. But now that I've reviewed, technically only one episode I rewatched to refresh my memory, but if I'd had more time, I would have done more. But I'm really astonished looking back now how much they were able to accomplish with this little, this is a demanding concept. You're working with animals, you're working with children, which everyone tells you not to do either of those things. You're working with two different plot lines that you have to line up, and you have to write them. Well, you have to write the real world one for the literature one, and you have to coordinate all this cast. It's like actually a very large cast for such a small show in both settings. I'm amazed how much they were able to do with this thing. Sorry, I just completely did a TED talk there.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's what we want. It's because we're here to facilitate you is really sort of the way we look at it. We're like, yeah, we're here for comedic relief is really it. Every once in a while we're funny. So,
well, you also know how to run the system, so there you go.
That's true. I get to hit play or record.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know, right?
She's special.
I'm technical. I didn't really think about it back then, right? Because it was in the mid '90s. I was in middle school and stuff like that, and like I have an 8.5-year younger brother, so he was super young at the time, right? So I guess he was like 4 or 5. But you're right, and like the way it was all written and done, it really did. It was like, we're going to have a real world thing, and then we're going to use the lesson here to teach you about literature. And I'll be honest, it's like the only way I know anything about old school, like, literature stuff, because I don't read. Except comics, right? Like, let's be clear.
Sure, no. Like, listen, you gotta own who you are.
Right, exactly. I will read comics, and I'll be up to date as I possibly can. I don't get as much time to sit down and talk about and read them as I want to, but
none of us do.
I was never a huge reader in high school or middle school, and in fact, I got through all of high school without reading a single book. I was impressed.
What? Wait, what? Okay, hold on. Unpack this for me. By got through, do you mean you flunked out, or like how did you do this?
No. I graduated. No, I graduated. That's the key. Is I graduated. Was I an honor student?
I want to see a diploma. No. Show me it. I don't understand how this is possible.
I don't actually know where it is.
Well, you're not the type that displays your high school diploma?
Not normally. I've talked about it a number of times. I moved in the middle of COVID, so I still have boxes and boxes of stuff over there, like all of my toys. It's probably in a bin with my Disney Adventures magazines, okay? Maybe some Game Pros are in there or something like that, right?
Nick calls it moving, we call it hoarding.
Look, you'll hear, if you watch the other episodes, you'll hear, it's a very short border. It's a very thin line. Anyway, so yeah, I did get through all of high school without reading a single book, because movies existed. So like The Scarlet Letter was a book I had to read, and I definitely just watched the movie and wrote it on that. I got like a C, and I was like, great for me. I don't care.
The Demi Moore movie?
Yep.
Well, that's why you got a C. That movie has very little to do with the book.
That was fine. I wasn't going for an A. I got a C.
He could have watched Easy A instead.
Yeah, honestly, that would have
wasn't
been
then,
better.
but-
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't exist yet, but whatever.
Yeah, come on, Mike. Right, like we're talking 90s, but come on.
Yeah.
It's better of the two movies, though.
Oh, it's a definite better movie. Let's be clear. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Yeah, no,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
I didn't shoot for high grades in classes that weren't interesting. Like A's came in math and science, but everything else I was like, D stands for degree, bud. That's it.
Ha, there you go. See, we had the
I'm
opposite problem. I was the reader for sure.
Well, that's the thing is everybody in my house is a reader. My 2-year-old loves books, like all of them, all the little kid books. So I've like started reading now, but like my 10-year-old, he'll read tons of books, and
Good.
he's like,
That's awesome.
I've read all of these books, and he's like, all right, so I need the next one. I'm like, yeah, okay, this last one just came out. You gotta wait a bit, bud. Go read something else.
Yeah.
And my partner, she's in love with books. Everybody is a book reader. I'm just not. And that's okay, because
Yeah.
I played tons of PlayStation and Super Nintendo all throughout high school.
There you
And
go.
I had other stuff going on, but that was, I was just not a reader. But I did make it through I did graduate, and I did graduate without having read a book. And in all fairness, it was probably a good another 7 years before I actually picked up a book and read it.
Wow. And what was that book when that happened?
The Looking Glass Wars by Frank, I'm gonna mispronounce his name, Beddor, Beddor.
Okay.
I don't.
Sounds valid.
Anyway,
It's probably
so
French.
probably, but Beddor. I don't know.
I
But
don't know.
It's like a weird twist on Alice in Wonderland.
That's what I was gonna say.
About like basically Alice lives in Wonderland and it exists in like a parallel universe, but they're technologically advanced from us. So all of their things that happen come through in a stream of consciousness over to our plane of existence.
Okay.
And she falls into the stream and ends up in our existence, and that's how we get the stories, because back in old-timey England, she runs into Lewis Carroll, and so she's telling all these stories, and everybody
Okay.
thinks she's crazy, and Lewis is just like, yep, oh yeah, that's awesome, that's
Okay.
crazy though, yeah.
So it's
Anyway,
sort of an Alan Moore, all literary worlds exist concurrently premise.
yeah, but it's done really well. There's a whole comic series that fills in gaps because it's a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a whole comic series about like the Mad Hatter is like the queen, like Alice's security guard world. It's really cool. And
Cool.
I was at some like book fair and found it for like 50 cents, and I was like, I'm gonna read this, and everybody was like, you're not gonna read this, and I was like, I will. And then I fell in love with it, and then very
Gotta
quickly
prove
read
'em
the
wrong.
next 2 books. I did, and it was great, and I love it. And I read the next 2 books like relatively quickly, and then
Nice.
they started coming out with the comics and everything. So Wishbone, right? But yeah.
Was Wishbone the first recorded cosplayer?
Oh. They have to have been doing. They were doing that by then. Oh, here's my puppy. Here's my boy.
There we go. That's it.
Yeah.
Episode's over.
Need
Dogs.
some love.
Yes. Okay. Hop down, honey. Mama's gotta talk. Close this door. Ugh. All right. You could. Oh,
I mean, you
whatever
can.
you want.
You don't have to.
Okay. They're back.
That's fine. So yeah, but Wishbone, it was a great. It is like the only reason I know like anything about those stories is because like I'd pop it on when I was babysitting my brother, or in middle school. My 8th grade English teacher or reading teacher, because we have reading as a separate class, which I never understood, but it was great.
Okay.
She used Wishbone to teach us about the books that we were supposed to read in 8th grade.
Awesome.
Yeah,
In
so it was
8th
really
grade?
great. Yeah,
Wow.
8th grade. My teacher was using Wishbone to get us to understand and learn about the books we were supposed to be reading. It was great because I was like, great, this is the only way I know the story. She's like, you didn't read any of it. I was like, nope, didn't read any of it.
Yeah.
At least you're honest.
I was very honest. Luckily, 8th grade, you didn't have to pass anything to still go on to 9th grade. It didn't matter. I was like, great.
Back in the good old days.
Effort's going somewhere else. Anyway.
Yeah.
But like you kind of described it great, Clara. It's if you go back and think about it, like it is like two concurrent stories with a massive cast with this little Jack Russell Terrier like splicing between the two worlds and like teaching you about books.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I there were moments in my childhood when I realized it's like, oh, all the people in the the fictional worlds, the book worlds they're depicting is just like this community theater troupe. But honestly, I can't imagine. I read the Wikipedia article looking for. You guys, stop it! Stop it! Sorry. Hey.
No worries.
You need to stop. I was reading the Wikipedia article looking for information on like the budget and how they did all this casting because they have to have these separate sets for each one of the books. They have to have all this costuming that's not I really expected it to be worse than it is. Like it's not amazing, but it's not, a high school theater production either or just things you got out of your grandma's closet, This is actually decently done, especially for the time, and I was really impressed.
So I don't think I ever watched Wishbone, unfortunately.
Oh wow!
I did watch. I watched like Arthur and like the Busy World of Richard Scarry and stuff like that. Never Wishbone. Yeah. Now between the two worlds, like the real world and then the storytelling, was it like the same characters in each, like a Wizard of Oz type thing? And you were there. And you were there.
Okay. So the premise is it starts in every episode starts in the real world. It's it's the 90s. It's this town in Texas called Oakdale, and you have this cast of like this kid and his mom. And his dad is dead, which is like a reoccurring like subplot, like the grieving over the dad, which was actually handled really maturely now that I look back on it. And it's his school friends, his goofy neighbor, and his dog. And the dog has this very they heard sneezing in the other room, and that made them leave. The dog is a very goofily voice acted sort of jokester that is just very imaginative and for some reason has this amazing storehouse of classic literature in his mind. I realize they never really explain how this dog who can't even communicate with people knows all these stories, but regardless of that, completely understands the nuances, the eras they were written in, all that stuff. And basically, as the A plot gets rolling, the dog starts imagining himself as the protagonist of a piece of literature that somehow mirrors what is happening in the A plot. Which in reality was reversed, when they're writing it. I'm sure they start with the book and then say, how can we reflect this in a modern setting? And that they have to do both of those plot lines in 30 minutes is very impressive.
Gotcha. Nice. So it's kind of like the first couple seasons of Boy Meets World before there was a Boy Meets World, where like they try to tie in the classroom lessons with what's going on in the kid's life. That's they're doing, making the two coincide. That's a lot to juggle for sure.
It's really, and like as a kid, I didn't have dogs. Now that I'm way more familiar with dogs, it's really funny watching, how immaculately trained this little Jack Russell Terrier Soccer is, and how often he's really enjoying the task he's being given. It's like, okay, now I have to crawl, now I have to roll. Like in the episode I rewatched was the Rip Van Winkle episode, and when he's supposed to be carrying the barrel up the mountain, obviously he's a dog, so they just have him like rolling it, and it's so cute the way he does it. It's just, and he's in little costumes. He wears hats and fake beards, and all. It's so cute. It's so funny, and the whole like the way you just have to swallow the premise as an adult. Like, as a kid, this is not difficult at all. But as an adult, watching this premise where you're like, these actors are talking to this dog like he's their equal. This like he plays Mr. Darcy in the Pride and Prejudice episode. Like there are romantic conversations between this adult actress and this dog.
That's
It's so great.
Oh, jeez. That's a
That is
testament to
good.
the actors,
It
trying
is.
having to do that.
Oh,
But I mean, what's
oh.
worse? What's worse, talking to a dog or the people in like the MCU and all that stuff where they talk to nothing? Like I probably
Right,
feel
where
a
they
little
talk
bit
to a
weirder
tennis ball
talking
on a
to.
stick.
Yeah,
At least the dog is actually there.
yeah. At least it can turn its head and
talk to a dog.
Yeah, right. Because you can all sort of look in the same place. You're not looking in 3 different places when you communicate. Yeah.
yeah. True.
This is I wanted to lead with this, but I forgot. This is my like
It's okay.
degrees of separation game for this show. After the show, some point, I actually don't remember when I learned this, but so the actress that plays the dogs, so the dog is owned by this kid Joe, and he and his mom are basically the main cast. And the actress that plays Joe's mom is a lady named oh, I forgot. I completely
Ellen
forgot her name.
Talbot.
It's completely
Ellen
Googleable because it
Talbot.
doesn't affect the story. But oh, it was
Perfect.
Mary Chris, I think. Something Chris. She had one of those double names, and my mom knew her in college. She
Oh,
was a
wow.
ballet major and my mom was a ballet minor and they were in ballet classes together. And I called my mom the other night, just like, hey, do you remember any anecdotes, about you remember you told me you knew, Joe's mom from Wishbone? She's like, yeah, I did. We were in the same class. And I asked her for anecdotes, and the only one she really remembered was how funny it was, the the wonderful inflection of the Russian ballet teacher saying Mary Chris's name. But that was
I can
pretty
see
much
that.
it. But the funny twist was in the show, Joe's mom is a librarian, which sort of, feeds back into the whole literature theme. That's
Sure.
she's sort of your human portal to books so that the human characters can be into books as well. And my mom is now a librarian, so it comes full circle.
Oh Jesus. Yeah.
Full circle.
So this
Yes.
wasn't
That's
just
awesome.
a random show for you that you enjoyed as a kid. It has meaning in your life at this point. You just didn't
Yeah.
know it until a couple weeks
Yes.
ago.
It was my literary foundation in a lot of ways, like probably a lot of kids where I may or may not have gone on to read most of those books, but who's judging?
You at least went to the
Just shake your
movies.
head.
No. I watched. Look, we already talked about it. I learned the Scarlet Letter from the movie, and it was close enough.
Okay.
See, my English teacher, we'd have to read books and have to read X amount of chapters every night, and then we'd have quizzes the next day on those
Uh-huh.
chapters. But I found out real quick that before the quizzes, she would summarize the chapters. So all I would do is pay attention to those summaries, and then I would get like a B on every single quiz just because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot of teachers I've noticed. You find that little part. If you can learn to read them, and when they think they're being sneaky about what you need to know, then you got it. Then it's easy.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of that. I am fairly certain my 9th grade English teacher read to me more while I was sleeping, but that's a whole different story.
I mean, maybe absorb more that way.
People are like, how did you get it? Like, I'd always pull out like a B or like a B minus on the quizzes. And people are like, how did you do that? You literally slept through everything. Did you even do the homework? No, I did not. How did you get a B? She literally read it to us, and I was sleeping. I don't know, osmosis. Figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
That's
Hey,
pretty
you're
much it.
okay, buddy.
You're more than okay, buddy.
Yeah, did you hear that?
Don't let her talk down to you.
Did you hear that? Yeah.
I mean, she physically has to, Nick. He's a dog.
Underneath.
Because he's down here, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
down that way.
right.
Physical
Then that's
proximity.
fine. Right. In fact, I've noticed there's a paw print on your shirt.
These are actually medical scrubs because I work part-time at a vet called Cherry Knowles Vet Clinic.
Oh,
So I just
nice.
came home from work and hopped on here. So there you go.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Yeah. I realized I was like, I could change, or I could do this like completely symbolically appropriate
Let's do it.
outfit.
That's fine.
I'm
So you
wearing a
do that part
boondock
time, but
t-shirt.
whilst
So
doing
not the
comics, like
same.
that's insane. That you'd
Yeah,
have
because
that much time.
no, I have the same time as anyone else. Oh, Riddle, honey, you're fine. Yeah, this is money is difficult in comics sometimes. What can I say? But I'm being very generously supported by my business partner and his wife right now, so it's all good.
Gotcha. I mean, well worth it.
We do.
Well worth it from the stuff I've seen.
Hopefully, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm working towards this weekend. Actually, I'm working to Riddle. You need to stop, honey. You're fine. You're fine. I'm gonna launch my Instagram subscriptions and a whole revamped Patreon. So hopefully, I'm gonna start bringing in some more revenue that way.
Nice.
It's a brave
It's
new
out
world.
there. It is. There should be a whole Wishbone episode about it.
Yes, there should.
That's it. We should bring Wishbone should come back and teach us about amazing literary things like Twilight and Hunger Games. I'd love to see Hunger Games as Wishbone.
That'd be
I mean, it
pretty.
is like there's so many. This is something I do still think about though. There's so many. You know, there was never a lack of like science shows for kids. You get like your Bill Nyes and your Magic School Buses and all that. But like the
Beakman's World.
idea of a classic literature, educational TV show for kids is it's almost wild. Like that kind of comes out of nowhere. But like what an effective way to teach it, because this is still like, even having read many of these books now, it's still like, oh, I remember this happened in Wishbone, that they hit the basic plot points in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
It's
I
amazing
wild.
how they can
loved
do that.
I loved
Yeah.
when he was Sherlock Holmes.
Yes. Oh,
And
I
if I remember,
love
did
the
they
Sherlock Holmes one especially. Yes.
the little hat, the little old timey Sherlock hat? Like that was it.
Hmm.
That was like I think the first episode I saw. I was like, all right, I'm in.
It's a
I'm
Jack
in.
Russell Terrier in a deerstalker hat. It's like this big. It's so cute. I
So
loved it.
good.
Was
Yeah,
so great. He's doing an accent and everything. I will
Oh,
say I
jeez.
remember as a kid, this was really well targeted at kids, just the tone and the humor style of the dog and the voice actor. As a kid, I really liked it. I found it really approachable. Listening to it again now, it's like, okay, this is annoying. This guy's annoying. And no shade on him at all. He was very good at his job. It was appropriate to the target
For the
audience, but
audience,
it,
yeah.
it gave me a chuckle that's like, I am old now. Things annoy me.
it was also the
So,
'90s where anything went.
Nick, I do have a
What was
question.
that?
It was the '90s, so anything went.
Oh, including some of the most wild ass outfits I have ever seen. Everyone in this show is wearing the most enormous tops possible. It's wild. Like the mom is always in these huge sweaters, and you can tell, by the way, when you once you know she's a dancer, like she's educated in dance. You can see it because she's this very lovely woman, very long, sort of like Gina Davis body type, that she just sort of floats around, just really elegant movement. She's great
Hmm.
on screen, but she wears these gigantic sweaters that you only see in like those 90s. And all the kids, the Joe, his his guy friend and his girlfriend, and they all dress exactly the same in like giant plaid vests, just like it's so baseball hats and
Yeah.
giant plaid shirts. Like it's just, it looks like they're all always about to play basketball in the 90s. Like,
I mean,
it's
you
such a
never know when shit's
specific
gonna go
look.
down.
Yeah, and the thing is, I remember being a kid, because these kids were just a little bit older than me at the time, so I like looked up to them as like, oh, these are like cool people. And I watch it now and it's like, oh, look at these little babies. But I had outfits like that. Like, I had a giant, like, I had like a hand-me-down plaid shirt that I cut the sleeves off because I wanted to have a giant plaid vest like everyone in Wishbone.
But what about the
And now
trend of
it's
wearing
like,
a sweatshirt and then a t-shirt
mhm,
over the sweatshirt? Not under it,
I'm sure,
over it.
I'm sure they did that. I'm sure
That
they
was a
did that,
thing.
but I don't remember.
Don't shake your head,
It's
Nick.
just wild.
You know you rock the Umbro shirts.
No. I
Just so
had
many
way.
And a,
baseball caps.
and a starter
I
jacket.
did. Baseball
Oh,
caps were my jam.
I remember the metaphor I came up with. No, this one, okay.
Perfect.
It looks like they're at the exact cross section of an Eddie Bauer catalog and a 90s rap video. That's like the vibe. It's so specific.
It's like Chris Cross went to finishing school.
Yeah, yes,
They
yes,
became
yes.
Christopher Christopher. Yes.
But he's also kind of outdoorsy and sportsy, but also lives in a really pristine house. You know the type. It's like a rich sports kid.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
They
yeah.
they look they look like they can play, but they really can't.
uh,
It's 80% how you look, Nick. You know that.
Oh, that's
don't
why
we
I
all?
fail.
And that's why he went to go put his glasses on.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
could bear. Like, I probably would have ended this episode with a headache if I didn't. I probably would have been like, one of you is Mike and one of you is Clara. Like,
Yeah, it's hard to tell the difference. I understand.
well, yeah, without my glasses, like, I got a messed up eye, and like the other one's like, I don't want to.
Ah,
Anyway,
boo.
we're
I
all
hear
wearing
that.
glasses. We all got the same weird problem.
Exactly. Yeah. I boo all of us. All of us.
Yes.
Oh, sad. No
Yeah,
good eyes.
yeah.
We
No
all
good
wake up in the
eyes.
middle of the night to a noise, panic because we can't see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
while
true.
other people with good vision are like saving their lives because something's happening, we're spending 10 minutes trying to find our glasses, put them on, while the killer is in the house trying to get to us.
Yes,
How did the
exactly.
killer get in the house? I feel like we jumped a couple steps. We should ask Wishbone.
We lost our glasses and we couldn't figure out how to lock the doors.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes way
Okay. All
more
right. All
sense.
right. This
All right,
plot's coming together. It makes a lot of sense.
all right.
I guess
I'm
so.
on board now.
This could be an episode of Wishbone.
Yeah.
The
There we
killer
go.
was coming. The killer was inside the house because
There
they
was an
couldn't
episode
find
where
their
the kids
glasses.
locked themselves in an abandoned barn, and then lightning started it on fire, which was pretty intense. And they had to find their way out. I don't remember what book that one was for, though. I can't remember.
It was the
They did
Scarlet
some
Barn.
really good ones, though. Like they
Clearly,
did Oliver
the grapes of
Twist
wrath.
and the
Yeah.
Grapes of Wrath. That's one I'm pretty sure they didn't do. I was also
Right.
chuckling to myself. I was like, yeah, they never did the Scarlet Letter, did they? That's not really a book you pitch at children, is it?
I
It
don't know.
depends on how they twist it, right?
Yeah.
True. There's not a lot of twists in it.
If there's a reboot, Nick, I want to know. If they reboot it and they do like the Hunger Games, would Wishbone be PETA?
I would think I don't know. So like, if Wishbone was a character in Hunger Games,
He definitely wouldn't be Katniss.
Right. I just realized that. Like, he's always, like, all of these old books have male protagonists.
so
Although, not
I meant like
necessarily.
I meant like PETA. You know, I was trying to be funny. Neither of you got it, so I failed tonight.
the animal rights group. I get it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I see
Okay,
that.
but you have to, like, wait, is it even spelled differently?
No,
Yes.
it's not.
Is it? I don't know.
No, it's not. They're both PETA.
So we've
aren't they?
established that Nick and I don't read, so we don't know how PETA is spelled. We just know how it's
Okay.
spelled.
Yeah,
in
they
the
don't.
movies.
They don't spell
All right.
it in the movie. They're not like PETA, like PETA, or like the bread PITA. They're like, we're just sacrificing children to fight.
Well, it's
We're not-
definitely
I mean, that's the
ITA.
synopsis.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunger Games is really just the movie's battle royale, but in America.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all it really is. And
Oh,
Battle Royale
alright,
did it better.
They did. They did an amazing, way better job absolutely better job. See, I read that, but that was way later in life, and it
There
wasn't
you
the
go.
book. PETA,
What
the
counts?
movie character is P-E-E, so double E, two
That's
E's,
what I
P-A.
thought.
Yeah, well, you were right and I was wrong. I admit it.
Well, I mean, still, if you have to explain the joke, especially with spelling, it's, maybe not.
I already said I failed. Okay, you don't have to
Like I
rub it
said,
in.
we said we were funny sometimes.
Yes.
We never said
Yes,
we were
I'm
good
just I'm
all
just
the time.
bullying everyone now. That's all that's happening.
I've admitted that
That's
I
it.
don't think I've ever watched Wishbone. I need to contribute somehow. Okay.
Poor
Well, there's
puns.
plenty of episodes on YouTube. Give it a even at least a little poke, because it's adorable watching this dog play these literary characters and his little costumes. The number of just like puffy shirts this dog wears is so cute. Little puffy shirts and vests, his little hemmed trousers, so
Like,
cute.
it is. They really they
like
really are.
Yeah.
Like his
like
little outfit.
like an episode of Seinfeld.
Yes. And the
Just get the
dog's
Except
design is
way
supposed to
better.
have a paw print on his ear, and you could tell it's just like stamped on every time. Like the dog goes to makeup and gets his ear done, his one ear. It's adorable.
It was
It only
PBS, so
kind
you
of
know.
matches his natural color. It's like it looks very fake.
poor thing.
Yeah. Look,
Maybe it's real and it just says like dermatitis or whatever it's called.
Right, in a very specific pattern.
Yes.
it could be the state of Florida instead, so at least he's like a weird paw.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it was, I really, so it's a weird way to introduce kids to literature. It was way better than, a lot of things, like, especially for kids who didn't really, for somebody who didn't, none of this interested, right? Like this, like, that's why I never read books, is because they were very just not something I wanted to read. Like, I never had any interest in reading The Scarlet Letter. So when I went to
I love the
Blockbuster and
Scarlet
found
Letter
out,
so much. I've read it so many times.
when I went to Blockbuster and found out that there was a movie on it, I was like, that. My mom was like, all right, whatever.
She doesn't question you.
No,
It
I
was
love
the
it.
90s. Like,
it was the
Yeah,
90s.
right. Children can do anything. It's the 90s.
listen,
No,
there was
it's how-
commercials asking parents if they know where their children were. Like, it
Right,
was the
yeah.
Every
90s,
parent was
right?
like, no.
And this was a new concept.
Yeah. We can actually watch these things? Damn it.
It's like, oh man, you're making our lives harder.
I hope some parent fed them.
Someone somewhere. Okay.
Someone somewhere fed them, and they drank water from random hoses.
Yes.
That's how we survived. But yeah, so like, it was a good way to introduce those stories to kids and get them to understand, and maybe it hooked some kids on reading. It apparently worked for you. It did not
there
work
you
for
go.
me.
Best way. It
We
sounds
got
like
a
the best way.
50-50 right now. What?
Like, it sounds like the best way, right? It's engaging, it's entertaining, it's, with the whole dog cosplay thing that wraps kids in. Because even like you mentioned, like science stuff, right? Like growing up, I think I may be dating myself at this point, but growing up, the big guy on TV for science was Mr. Wizard. It was very dry, very like, old school, whatever. But then you have Beekman's World, who made it fun, who was like, hey, we're going to take science, we're going to take ADD, we're just going to mix it together, and we're going to have a guy in a full-fledged rat suit. Like, let's do it. And the lessons, like,
So good.
the lessons, the show was recently streaming on Tubi TV. They took it off, unfortunately. And I went back and I started rewatching Beekman's World, and I'm like, this stuff's great. Like, the lessons and all the experiments he did, like, I was retaining them like this, and I was like, holy cow. Because they figured it out, and I, like, judging by the sounds, that's what Wishbone did. It's, they figured it out, and it was a way to educate kids, but make them think they're just having fun watching TV. Like, ha, gotcha.
I just taught you Oliver Twist, sucker.
Yes.
But yeah, no. And that's it. That's probably the best way to describe it. Is like, but you had Beakman's World, Bill Nye, like things that made stuff fun. And with my 10-year-old, like he's like whenever they had snow days, but it was like work snow days, so they were like, you're just gonna homeschool for the day. We're gonna give you some lessons, and then you can go
Right.
play, right? But we don't have to make it up at the end of the year because we're up in New Hampshire, so we're like, yeah, we can't leave, and it happens. But yeah, so I come up and because I work in the basement, and I come up for air every once in a while, and I'm like, "You just playing a video game?" He's like, "It's math," and I was like, "What?" So like they just have like 2/3 of their stuff, and it's all like entertainment based and educational. I was like, I probably would have been a way better student. Like I'm not gonna try to figure out why they're doing this, but I don't know.
Right.
They were like, go play video games and learn things. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
sure thing. Final Fantasy.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, if it works.
Interesting way to consume the material,
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm like, at first I was like, go do real work. And then I was like, I don't know, he's getting really good scores on stuff, so I'm not gonna knock it. Or whatever,
Yeah.
man. Like Mike said, Beakman's World was like straight up like ADHD in science, and that's what it was. Like, if you didn't ever actually watch Beakman's World, go watch it. It was on Netflix for a while too, and I threw on a couple episodes, but it was an interesting way to get kids to introduce and involved in seemingly boring stuff.
And unfortunately, I grew up on a lot of TV because where I lived, there was no kids around me. And to get to any kids, I'd have to cross a busy street, which I wasn't allowed to do. And then my brother's 10 years older than me, so while I was playing with Hot Wheels, he was playing with real cars, stuff like that. So there was always that divide. So I grew up on TV, and my dad used to always give me shit all the time because I could recite like all these cartoons and shows and quote them, and he'd be like, "Why can't you do that with your homework?" And I was always like, "Because homework's boring."
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
but like the quotability though, that's like that on its own is a huge, part of it. Like I remember, like there are still Shakespeare quotes that I was the kind of kid in college too that I memorized. I did the Shakespeare monologues and stuff for speech class or whatever, but because I love that stuff. But there are still parts that I can't, Shakespeare quotes I can't hear in not Wishbone's voice. It's hilarious.
There's a number of things that are kind of like that. It's not Wishbone's voice, but it's like there's certain things that you immediately kind of associate to that style. So it's fun when that happens. You're like, every time I hear that, that's exactly what I kind of remember. So it's good.
So, I mean, to draw a parallel and go back to even like Boy Meets World, right? The first couple seasons, there was one where Bill Daniels just recites something from Shakespeare, and I don't remember what it is for the life of me, but like even as an adult, because I watched it when I was a kid, loved the show, and I went back and rewatched it maybe when it came on Disney Plus, and even as an adult listening to him do Shakespeare, I had chills. Like as an adult, it was moving, it was touching, and the emotion, the feeling that he brought to it. Yeah, it's something that like just echoes through you.
Yeah, those are the things that stay with you when they're well done like that. Yeah. I hear that. Oh, I just remembered a cool thing. So at the end of the Wishbone episode, they would have a little, like, a 2-minute behind the scenes segment. Like, this is how we, made these characters seem like ghosts, with the sound editing kind of thing, and just things like that. And that was, I think, probably my first exposure to that sort of media production, the behind the scenes thing. And I became that kid that I was more interested in watching the special features than the movie because I wanted to know how these things were made. I was on this path where I was like, I want to make things more than I want to consume things even. And like that was always my favorite part of the show, was that little behind the scenes thing. And I feel like that on its own was one of the most influential things for me, and I doubt I'm the only one. Because when you're seeing these things as a kid, you're like, there's a part of you that knows somebody made this, but
Yeah.
you have no idea how. And I knew I wanted to know. So that was,
Yeah.
I think that was really valuable as well. That was really
Yeah.
smart of them. They
It's
really
funny you say
planted
that.
a lot of seeds.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say
Yeah.
that because, growing up, I loved like Home Improvement, right? And I
Hmm.
don't know if you guys watch it, you remember, but at the last episode of every season, they would zoom out so you'd see like the whole sets, and then they would
Right.
have the whole cast come out one at a time as they introduced them, and they, took a bow and stuff. And I always thought that stuff was interesting. So you see like how the sets are designed, and it's like, oh, well, you open the bedroom door and there's no bedroom there. It's it's just a void, or oh,
Yeah.
that's the tool time set. So like how they constructed
And it's
everything and put it
literally
all
like
together.
right there.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
and it's
right.
always
Yeah.
pretty cool to see that stuff. Um, I got fascinated with that. Even like I listened to the Boy Meets World podcast that like
Hmm.
Daniel Fishel and Ryder Strong are on, and they constantly go back to a debate on how the Matthews house is set up. Because they're like, well, there's
Uh-huh.
the front door, but then there's the side door. But is it the back door? Because there's Mr. Feeney right there. But then there's the
Right.
back door in the living room with the slider, and that should be the back of the house. And then there's the garage, and like, I guess it's people like on Reddit that like draw it and try and construct
Right.
how it would
Trying to
look.
blueprint it out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and just like
Any
that stuff.
any show like filmed on a soundstage like that is like, I don't, this house doesn't make sense. I don't
Yeah,
understand what's going on here.
yeah, and it's like they have two staircases going upstairs, but then when you see the small parts of the upstairs that there are, it's like how does that make sense? And
Right. Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
but it's still cool how they do that stuff and how they make it. Even like from like a physicality thing to building the sets to like trick photography, or especially back in the '90s when they didn't have all the computer stuff available to them like they
Right.
do nowadays. To see and I find more charm and more like allure to that, because it's like that to me took more ingenuity than
Yeah.
something that, oh, I can just, the computer did it for me. Now unfortunately,
Yes.
one of the horrors that we're leaning towards now, AI doing a lot of
Right.
stuff for people, where it's uninspired, it's not
The
really
demon.
the
Yeah.
demon. Whereas back in the day, like even like you look at like the '70s and like Star Wars, how they made all those scenes with like miniatures and camera angles and tricks and stuff like
It's
that.
like a
Like
massive
Yeah.
soundstage, and
that's
Yeah.
insane. Like I have
the
so much
crawl
more
is
respect for
literally
that.
just
Yes.
this
Yeah,
massive piece of
yeah.
Yeah.
paper, basically.
So much more respect for that than like anything new that comes out where it's just on a and that takes a lot of talent too, doing stuff on a computer. But
Yeah,
it's
for
Different.
sure.
just there's charm into that like handmade
Yeah.
stuff. Just like the Ninja Turtle movies, right? You look at the old
Hmm.
'90s Ninja Turtle movies where it's Jim Henson doing the creatures and the puppetry and the costumes, and
Yeah.
it's organic, it's genuine, it feels real. But then you got like the Michael Bay movies where it just completely removes you from the situation because they look
Hmm.
so, you know, your
Yeah.
brain can always tell. You're never going to be
Practical
fully
effects are
immersed.
king.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
wish a lot more like directors and stuff would go back to it nowadays, and even
Yeah.
on TV shows. TV shows nowadays are leaning heavily on that stuff too.
Yeah.
You know,
We do still have people like Del Toro that are really into practical effects, but they are few and far between. It's funny
yeah.
you say that though, like I remember one of the only times I felt kind of gross about the behind the scenes clip at the end of a Wishbone episode. I forgot which episode this was, but there was like a what was it? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. There was
Snake.
some kind of guillotining scene. There was an execution scene, and there was a
Oh,
large,
what?
jeering crowd. Yeah, and they had this large jeering crowd, but it felt a little bit weird. I remember watching the episode, and they showed us in the special features how they just digitally replicated this clump of people to just make it look like a larger crowd. And even as a kid, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that feels like cheating, but okay. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
You
makes me the
know,
weird one, but I
no.
know what you mean.
There's a bunch of
Yeah,
unemployed
no.
extras that you could have used. Damn it.
Well,
I would have done it.
they just didn't have the budget. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
they had
sure.
to. There was way too many people to pay on that show already.
mean, as a kid, I probably would have done it to just pet the dog. You can meet Wishbone. Done. What do you want me to do? Stand there. Deal.
Yeah.
Right?
How many times do
Yeah,
you want
that's
me to do
awesome.
that? Would have definitely done that.
I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like that's me with most things, right? Like, if
I
someone
would have
offered me to be an
too.
extra in a movie, like, oh, we'll pay you for nope, 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 nope. I get to meet X. Like, give me like 2 seconds to shake their hand, and I'm happy. you know,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or,
I
or let me
think
pet the
that
dog.
was I think for me that was even like kind of before a time when I fully like cognitively understood that these were real people, you know? I knew that things that happened on screens weren't real. And I think there was a switching point in my life where I realized like, oh, people that act in movies as long as it's not a cartoon, those are real people that like sleep and eat and stuff.
No. I'm pretty, like, I'm, as you're saying that, I'm like, no, you definitely, my brain is like, you definitely thought that too, dum dum. And I was like, no,
Oh
I
yeah,
definitely thought that too at some point. I was like,
oh
actors
yeah,
aren't real people.
Yeah.
I
They're
definitely
just,
did that too. It wasn't until you're like old enough and you can like put faces together and be like, wait a minute, isn't that supposed to be this person? Why are they this
Right.
person? And then it's like that glass shattering, like, psh, wait,
Right.
this
Like,
person not, they're not real.
yeah,
I
once you see
remember.
them in a different role, it sort of shatters that illusion. And I wonder if that had, now that I'm thinking about it, had more of a role in, when in that era of media, early Hollywood and onward, when, people would sort of embody one role for kind of their entire careers. I wonder if that contributed to,
Yeah,
this
true.
much greater idolization we had for them at the time because we never broke that fourth wall where you see them as someone else or just themselves. They're always just this one person all the time.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like
the
like
guy who
Clint
played Little
Eastwood.
Annie. Little
Sorry, you
Anakin.
spoke over each other.
Sorry, you go, Mike.
I was gonna say like Clint Eastwood. He was
Yeah,
very known for that one role.
He was a cowboy.
Yeah,
yeah,
Now you're a old, grumpy old man yelling at people about your car. I don't know. You're a
right.
cowboy. No, I'm kidding.
And people
Shooter
like the Three
McGavin.
Stooges, like that was an era of Hollywood where like they had a lot of trouble. They had to have like bodyguards because people would treat them like they could take a
They were
pratfall, just like
stooges.
in.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like,
oh
do you not
jeez.
understand that these are just people?
Can you imagine they're out to dinner and someone just runs up to him and pokes him in the eye?
Yes, yeah,
You're supposed to do this.
yeah, right.
Why did you do that? Now I've assaulted you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
And
poor
that's when you
guys.
just right.
And now life is so
Uh,
much better because we know way too much about celebrities' personal lives.
Oh yeah, right.
Bing!
yeah, I don't want to in most cases. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. The rest of the time I'm like, don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if I actually respect them as a person, but there's also, I do this thing now where it's like, I'm at a point where it's like, if I like them as an actor, if I like their acting, if I like the characters they play, I will purposefully avoid learning about them,
Yeah.
as a real life person. Because like, I don't want to, just don't ruin it. Like, this
Yeah.
is not
Go
really
meet your
part
heroes.
this isn't part of the package. I didn't ask to know everything about your personal life or your problems because you know what? Everyone has problems. Like
Yeah.
there's not going to be any perfect
Nope.
ones.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and Nick and I have mentioned it before. I don't know if she can hear. Nick and I
Sorry, what was
mentioned
that?
Nick and I mentioned it
Nothing.
before, where there's been I can't name off the top of my head right now, but there's been like actors who are musicians where it's like, oh, I really like their product, but then you find out that they're a complete jerk in real life, and it's just like, all right,
Right.
well, that just ruins it for me because you know what,
Yeah.
you're not better than me, you're not better than anyone else. You're just doing a job,
Right.
and people enjoy you doing that job, and you should like, especially in the public eye like that, you should be
Don't
humble
mess it
because
up.
without us, without the
Yeah.
fans, you're nothing, you know. So
Right.
like you don't, to
Right.
me, it's like, you know, don't be a jerk. I know some people
Don't
they're
be a,
just baked in them, you know. Some people just they just
Right.
are, but like that
Yeah.
definitely shatters my perception of them and makes me avoid them at that point where it's like, all right, I don't want to
Yeah.
see what you're in because like I know probably the hell that people had to go through behind the scenes to make you look that good, and I don't think it's
Right.
worth my $13
Right.
movie ticket or whatever.
Yeah. For the day of $13 movie tickets.
yeah.
I mean, if you're
There's a
not going
place
to
over.
IMAX,
There's a place around here that still does $8.50.
Oh, well,
And you can
good for
order
you.
food. I know, right? Like, it's a restaurant-y type thing. Anyway, no, but like back on that, like on the Don't Be a Jerk. What was it? When Master and Commander came out, there was massive reports that like it was Russell Crowe, right? Like I'm not misnaming it. Russell
Yeah.
Crowe like made like the cast like sew their badges on like correctly, that he would like rip them off if it wasn't perfect, and like I'm like this is like reports, right? Like this is literally, I never really dug into it, but I was like, that's a weird thing, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's weird. But then we go back to something else we touched on, like the kid, like somebody who never gets away from like that one role, little Anakin Skywalker, Jake
Oh
Lloyd.
gosh. Yeah.
Like his life went to hell, right? Like, and then like pick a Disney person whose life also went to hell, or Nickelodeon. Like
Right.
they all had like weird stuff, and like it was just I hate to say it, but '90s were a crazy time. Like if you go back, it's like all of it came out of the '90s and 2000s, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and like this is something I think about too, is like the way there was in my lifetime there was a definite switch in how child actors are treated, because like even up to like right up to the Amanda Byneses and the Lindsay Lohanses, they were treated poorly enough that they spun out like that. But like right around Harry Potter, it switched. Like none of those kids have spun out. Like they've all had, in terms of A-list celebrities, pretty normal lives, and they still have careers and they do other things. They're not defined by that, their childhood roles. Well, they kind of are. They are to an
I mean,
extent,
they
but
are.
you know
Some of
what I
them,
mean. They survived that, and they're
like
okay.
most of them. Either Crabbe or Goyle got arrested and was removed from the cast for the 7th movie, but like one of them did. I forget, but they got like
I don't.
arrested. But that's like one out of like the 750 cast members of the Harry Potter movie.
And the main four who should have got the most scrutiny and had it worse came out on top.
Mm-hmm.
So
like whatever we changed, like I don't know if, and I'd be interested to know if it was just like we just reached that level of understanding as a society, like this is no, you have to treat people okay, or there was actually a switch where like we're gonna have proper, child psychologists on set or whatever, we're gonna limit hours in this way, we're gonna make sure you get this kind of time that you need, like, or some combination thereof. But that's the sort of thing that interests me, is like I wonder how that switch happened, because there was definitely a switch.
What was the reason? The reasoning behind things is one of my it's one of the big things that draws me towards things. Like I work in tech support, and everybody's like, okay, here's the broken thing and here's the fix, and I'm like, okay, but why is it broken, and why is it broken again? Why is this? Why is that? And I'm like, and then it turns out the issue's like way over here, and has nothing to do with this one thing right here. But the whys and stuff, like, you're right. There was like a massive weird turning point where it was like, oh, these people are all kind of getting messed up. Oh, all right, we figured something out. Like, there's still going to be one-offs and like everything like that, because as we've talked about, people are people. And
but there was a time when it was almost guaranteed that your life was ruined, if you were a successful child actor, and it's simply not the case anymore.
Like, even in like if we go back to the '80s, that's even worse. Like, all of them, like most of them ended up with some sort of drug addiction or something like that. And like, I think like Drew Barrymore was like massively addicted to drugs like at like 8. It's like, how did you even get those?
Like really rough.
Sorry, that was probably really loud on your part.
When you're in ET, you can get whatever you want. Okay. That's the dark reality of it.
Yeah,
that's true.
But yeah, most of the child actors didn't make it out back in the 80s and 90s. You hear so many things about just spiraling out with drugs and addiction, and their careers, they just never survive. It's like the 10% that did back then, and something changed. They're the mid 2000s, there are child actors that are coming out on top now, that are actually like not only successful but sane.
Right. I mean, look at Daniel Radcliffe's career. Like, he has a legitimate adult man's acting career.
Yeah,
And you know.
He had like 5 years where he did nothing after Harry Potter, and then all of a sudden
No, he did that one movie.
Well,
He did that one like weird horror movie.
Mother.
No,
Woman in Black.
No.
Woman in Black. Thank you. Then they made they made an even worse sequel that didn't have him in it, and I was like, "Oh, good for him."
Oh, I barely remember that.
The important part is he did Guns Akimbo, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, he did a lot of things. Like he was in that what was it? That horse thing as a play.
Oh yeah. Oh, the nude play.
Yeah. That one, so he had a bunch of weird stuff that he did afterwards, but he found his footing. And you're right, he's got a massively successful career.
Yeah.
But like, if we like the rest of them, you know, they've all got their own success stories to some aspect, and they've all made their own. They've made their own way, and they've made their own personal decisions. And yeah, like I said, I pulled the one person who kind of had some problems during filming and stuff like that got caught on, you know, reported, right? Like, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, I think Daniel Radcliffe came out. He's like, yeah, I was kind of drunk the last like 4 years of filming, right? Like, yeah, that's kind of the face. I was like, oh, Daniel, I feel bad. I feel bad, but at the same time, he didn't let it take him down, right? So
no. I feel like at that point it was just like project fatigue, though. You got to be tired of it at that point, right? Like, come on.
Yeah. Like 1999 till how long? And those kids were nonstop. Like, that's
what
ridiculous.
A chunk of your life, though, for real.
Yeah, they grew up in front of the camera, literally.
Yeah.
We watched them. You know, you look at the first Harry Potter.
Paid a lot of money for it.
Yeah. You look at the first Harry Potter, and he's just a babe, and then you look at the last one, it's like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's a
he's
man.
A tiny child. Like you go back to the first one, it's like, oh, these are such young children. These are shockingly young children.
Yeah.
Yeah. You forget, you know, because you grew, like I said, you grew up with them throughout the movies till you get to the last, the Deathly Hallows Part 2, and then if you go back, you're like, oh, okay, like they were really young. You don't realize it because you grew with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually recently.
I'm laughing because I'm flashing back to I had at the time when Part 1 and 2 dropped. I had a coworker who insisted on referring to them as HP 7P1 and HP 7P2. Deathly Hallows, Harry Potter Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, that look, I've got some weird anagrams that I've heard, and I don't think I've heard those because it's way worse to say it.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Aren't they supposed to make things easier?
Yeah.
No. It's one of those joke anagrams to make it harder.
Oh, poor Nick.
What? Oh, I missed something.
No, it was just you don't make it harder. It's already hard.
Well, I did. You can't stop me.
I definitely cannot. But that's okay.
Yes.
Everybody can make up their own words for their own things, and that's okay. Just I don't understand sometimes.
I mean, if you're having fun doing it.
I already said it takes all kinds. It takes all kinds.
Yeah, it does. Like, I could never have written anything. Like, I could have written a book Wishbone would do.
That is okay.
You know? Maybe you
and
could,
that's okay. Well, that's it. Like, we've talked about it with other comic creators. I can't draw crap. I just can't. I'm more than willing to have people draw stuff and enjoy what they do and they write and stuff like that. I'm like, I cannot draw. I am not musically inclined in any way, shape, or form. I make a lot of weird sounds with my face hole, and beyond that, that's what I got. And my kid loves it. He's 2 though, so I don't take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because he just likes sounds, and most of the sounds I make are just longer versions of his sounds or similar versions.
Yeah.
You speak his language, Nick.
Yeah,
there you go.
apparently. He thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then he's like, you gave me toast with jam on it and peanut butter. You're nothing now. And
This
I'm
is
like,
legit sliced bread.
Yeah.
Right? It's like actual sliced bread. I put some peanut butter on that and I don't exist. He's like, yep. Gonna lick all the peanut butter off and then eat the toast afterwards, but you do, you kid.
Excellent.
He's a grown boy.
I'm glad we've established that you feed your child too. That's a good.
That is important.
That's important.
Toast.
Do you know where your kid is?
Yeah. It's 10:30 at night. He's probably going down to bed because it's summertime, so his schedule's very off. But yeah, no, I definitely know where my child is most of the time. Every once in a while, he's outside running amok. Because he's a 2-year-old that's not the size of a 2-year-old, so he could do things he's not supposed to do.
Wait, does that mean bigger or smaller than a 2-year-old?
Oh, he's not even 2, and he's already wearing like 4-year-old clothing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he hit 3-year-old clothing before he was 1.
Wow.
So he's like, I'm not 1, but here, I can touch the countertop and grab things. And we're like, well, shit.
Right. Our one advantage is gone.
Yeah. Oh, no. That's it. And we have a portable air conditioner, and he's learned that he could just press the button constantly and make it beep.
That's so annoying.
Right.
So we're like, hot, cold, hot, cold. I'm like, I'm not even...
Yeah. And what am I going to put a cage on this? Put a lock on the AC?
They don't make them. I've looked. And surprisingly, they don't have child lock. And I was
if
like,
only you can lock the functions. That'd be genius. They got to do that.
Yeah.
It would be child lock portable ACs.
Because my daughter would do that.
In our studio here that we have an air cleaner with just like touch buttons that's like, this far off the ground, and my dog has figured out he could turn them on and off by touching them with his nose.
Because the nose is like that. My old dog, he used to like put his nose on my phone, and I was like, that's not. Oh, that worked. Oh crap.
My dog hates my phone. He gets so irritated if he is in the room with me and I pick up my phone. He's like, no, you're paying less attention to me. Don't you look at that thing. Like he figured out immediately, like it is between him and this rectangle. That is where her attention is torn.
Well, yeah, that's about right.
I can't say I blame him.
I don't. My child wants to, at least with my stuff, my kid comes over, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, jerk. All right, well, I guess I'm just going to put my phone away now.
Yeah. So there.
Yeah, he did. Like, yeah. He showed me. He keeps us occupied.
What's worse is when they watch you and pay attention. Because, like, my daughter, she's 5 now, but even when she was, like, 3, she can go up to my wife's phone, pick it up, put her code in, and just go, like, right to YouTube. And we're like, what the heck?
Right.
She would, like, pay attention where she would know, this is what I got to do to get in here.
Yeah.
And she would, like, go to YouTube. So we were like, all right, we're going to put the phones away. We're going to put them higher up.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
There's no controlling it. There's no stopping it.
No.
Yeah, I can't leave the remotes near him, otherwise he kind of figures it out. Like he's not he's not fully there. Like I said, he's got a lot of advantages. He just hasn't brain-wise gotten to that point yet.
Right.
Like because he's, not 2.
Right.
So luckily I still have that advantage. And obviously I am much taller than him, so I still have that advantage. For now. I fully anticipate being shorter than him. And the 10-year-old at some point in time. Hopefully the 10-year-old before the 2-year-old, but,
Hopefully. But you never know.
I don't.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, like that TV show.
It'd be like, like the movie Jack, where it's your kids just...
I was going to say, that movie Jack.
We watched that a couple weeks ago. It's been a long time since I've seen it. My wife has never seen it, and I'm like, you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
And she was not prepared for the end. I was like, I'm sorry,
Aw.
but what'd you expect was gonna happen? Like,
Yeah, what did you expect of a guy with an accelerated aging rate? Did you expect him to lose? Like, did you expect him to
Right.
like surpass?
yeah,
Right. And
Right?
then at the end of his life, it stops working that way.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like no.
Then,
yeah.
then
He
it's,
got to
then
live
it's
a.
Benjamin Button where he goes in reverse.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
That's he's
Yeah, he
Jack and
just
then
bounces
Benjamin
back and
Button.
forth in his own timeline.
That's it. That's what happened to Scott Bakula. Uh, this goes forward and back.
Perfect.
Uh, yeah.
Hoping the next
But
sleep would be the last, or what? Would be the one home. That's what it is.
yeah, hoping the next leap will be the one home.
They rebooted Quantum Leap.
Yeah,
I heard about that.
I haven't watched it, but it
it's.
was.
Wait, where is it? Is it streaming somewhere?
I think it's CBS
Yeah, I forget.
Okay.
or NBC. No, it's NBC because it's on Peacock.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think it's like in its second season, but it's a lot more actiony.
It's NBC.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot more actiony than the old one. The other one was like, the other one was kind of weirdly Wishbone, but with adult people and telling historical stories, not made up stories. That's really what it was.
Okay.
You know, like that was the original Quantum Leap, and now
Right.
the new Quantum Leap is like a weird version of like Mission Impossible, like bouncing around.
That's not fun.
Like it's very actiony. Like, but that's what people want, and I'm like, I
Right.
don't want that.
I mean, I remember
mean-
hearing that they were rebooting it, and then I didn't hear anything after that, so I don't imagine it's made a huge impression.
Yeah. Same
Nah,
here.
the only reason I know about it and know where it is because I'm a glutton for America's Got Talent.
Ah.
And they're like
Advertise.
Quantum Leap, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the thing. I forgot about that.
See, I don't watch
Hey.
America's Got Talent, but I do love me some Terry Crews.
That's true. Everybody
Well,
loves
who
Terry
doesn't?
Crews. Yeah,
Nobody doesn't like Terry Crews.
I thought it's nobody
He's a
doesn't
guy.
like Sarah Lee. No.
nobody does it like Sarah Lee.
When I
But
was a
Terry
kid, I always
Crews-
thought it was doesn't like, because that makes sense too, right? Like our cakes are so good, nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee.
There
It
you
made
go.
sense when I was a
Ah.
kid. So
I could see that. It's like that. What was that commercial that was trying to tell us that that song "Pour Some Sugar Ramen" was a long line that people misunderstood and said instead of "Pour some sugar on me," and I was like, "Whoever thought that was "Shook Up Ramen"?"
yeah,
Yeah,
remember
no, that's not.
the
I'm
Rock
like,
the
oh.
Casbah commercial where the guy's like, "Lock the cash box, lock the cash box." He's like, that's not it at all. I remember that commercial. But so I don't lose my mind over celebrities or meeting them. But if I ever met Terry Crews, I think that would be like my goat situation. That man,
Yeah,
like if you look
that
at
would
the
be pretty awesome.
his lifelong struggles that he's been through with his family and all that, and then
Cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburger Eddie. He goes through his career in the NFL, and then that lasts like a year or two, not even. He was drafted in the NFL, and then fabricated an acting career out of an American Gladiator ripoff.
Yeah.
Like he was on an American Gladiator ripoff that tanked. He was T-Money in it, and then that was his name. And then he's just segued into acting, and like he can paint. Have you seen his drawings? Like he is a phenomenal artist.
Yes, I have. I saw them on Instagram. I was blown
Yeah.
away. He's like, look at
And
him
a
go.
flounder.
He can play the flute. He's funny
Yeah.
as hell. He's jacked out of his gourd. Like the
He can
dude
bounce
is
his pec.
he is. Well, I can do that, so that's not saying much for that. But he is like a modern day Renaissance man, like
He
without
is.
a doubt. And
Yeah.
it's just like he seems like the most wholesome, genuine, nicest guy in the world. And
Yeah.
like I just want to go up to him and give him a big
He's-
hug and probably cut myself on jagged rocks that are his
You're right.
muscles.
You're definitely gonna tear some stuff up. He's one of the few people that are out there that you see in Hollywood and you're like, I truly hope nothing ever comes out
Yeah.
about you because I will be crushed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
He is now what Mariah Carey was in the '90s. He's America's sweetheart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he can't
I
hit
mean,
the
there's a
7
couple of those.
octaves
I would say
like her,
Keanu
but
Reeves is still in that bracket as well.
he has
Yes.
luckily been that way for like he became that way in the 90s and he just got better, right? And became more of that. Like you're right, Keanu Reeves is up there. Like
Yeah.
one of my
Paul,
personal favorites is Jon Favreau.
Mm-hmm. He's a good one.
He is
Paul Rudd,
like yeah.
Paul Rudd, yeah. Yeah.
Also Benjamin Button at that point. That's at him. He's doing the
right?
whole bouncy back. Like
Yeah.
there's no way we watch so we have a spinning wheel. We watch movies every week and we have a wheel that we literally spin for a category and like a time frame. And we hit
Mm-hmm.
90s comedies or like 80s and 90s comedies. No, romance movies. That's what it was. We hit 80s and 90s comedy or romance movies, and we pulled out Clueless to watch with my 10-year-old.
Oh man,
Uh,
Uh-huh.
he
and
was
we're
a
like,
babe
it's
in
got
that.
Ant-Man. He's like, I'm in. And we're like, great.
Also has Batgirl. Just saying.
So we did say that. We're like, that's Batgirl. And, you know, you may not recognize her because, you know,
Oh, right,
there's
right, right.
no, right? Like, yeah. So, yeah.
Mm.
No, it was a fun movie to watch again. But But
Yeah.
yeah, Paul Rudd's another one that seems to weirdly not age or age backwards in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, good for him.
yeah.
That's
He
look.
he, he got that MCU glow up for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That helped. Yeah,
I mean,
those are some people where like that would crush me if I found out that they were like actually like jerks behind the scenes or in real life.
Right, right.
Because it's like the persona that they have in the media and the public eye is just like I said. You want to go out to them, you gotta give them a big hug, like
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
like if I found out that they were jerks, I would just be like heartbroken.
I've lost faith.
I've lost faith in humanity. Thanks a lot, Paul Rudd.
Not Limp Bizkit faith, but like George Michael faith. I've lost that.
Right?
Yes. You got to specify.
You do, because it's easy to lose Limp Bizkit faith. It's a lot harder.
I think that's
to
the
lose.
quote of the episode. Do you name the episode's goofy quotes from the show? It's easy to lose Limp
No.
Bizkit faith.
No.
If
we did, that would definitely be it. It would definitely
Right?
be it.
I've been saying that for a long period of time because I don't know, like I enjoy both songs for what they are, but at the same time you can't listen to them and be like, "Oh, that one's religious." Nope, that one's just some dude rapping on some guitars. Like
Right.
and it's got some words in there and I don't think he understands what those words mean. And then you look at Fred Durst, you're like, he doesn't understand what those words mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that a dude in a monkey suit? That's a dude in a monkey suit.
One dude's got a bright red hat. The other dude has his ass plastered across the screen in his tight jeans.
Yes.
Because you have to
Just
have
so we know
faith.
who's who.
Right.
Yes.
George Michael on a red hat is always a weird thing to see.
Right.
But
Wear whatever hat you want.
Especially with his cross, like the long cross earring that he used to wear.
Mm-hmm.
Was
And
that
full
Wham
on,
time?
like-
was that after Wham?
Like Lost Boys jewelry.
Yeah. Right.
to be clear, we're talking Lost Boys the movie, not Lost Boys from Peter Pan.
Like Kiefer
Yes.
Sutherland.
You
Yes,
gotta
Kiefer
specify.
Sutherland. When he was a little baby.
Exactly.
Not
Dude,
Rufio.
when you like, you know, when you're my age and you're familiar with Kiefer Sutherland as you know, what he is now, you know, as the 24 action star and all this, and you looking back and seeing him this young, it can be so jarring sometimes. I remember when I introduced my youngest sister, she was 18 at the time, I introduced her to Die Hard. And I sat her down like, okay, you are familiar with these men as like old guys. You have no idea what they were like in their primes.
Yeah.
Like you don't get it. And she was like, yeah, sure. You know, she doesn't really believe me. And then that first shot of Bruce Willis, you know, when on the plane, when it pulls out, you see his face. I'm behind the couch and she's on the couch, and she just turns. She does like, it's like, yeah, pretty, right?
Well, what about with what was it? Moonlighting, was that the movie, his first ever movie? Because he was a TV show actor, and then he
Yeah,
transitioned to
TV show,
movies. And
yeah.
when he had a full head of hair and everything, that's super awkward to
Yeah.
go back and see now.
Yeah,
But
it's really weird. Like when you see really old pictures of Patrick Stewart with hair, it's like, ugh,
no, yeah,
no.
no,
No, you're
no.
better without.
Well, just like The Rock, you see The Rock with hair, and it's like, no,
Yeah,
no, like
no,
don't do that ever again.
Are
no.
you no? See, the Rock with hair is the one I know. That's how I became to like the Rock. And then he was like, "I'm an actor," and I was like, "You're a wrestler." But
That's not
now
hair,
he's
that's moss
oh
grown on the north side of the rock.
oh okay, that's what it is. All right, my
Oh
bad.
gosh.
Yes.
Um, another yeah no. I only watched Die Hard for the first time like 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
What?
And I was like,
Wait,
yeah, I
who
never.
did?
Yeah, I so
It's a
growing up, I wasn't
Travis.
really an action movie person.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was sci-fi comedy, and then
Okay. I
I got
see.
into horror,
What's
right?
the
So I
Die Hard was too mainstream for you at the time.
well,
the
so like
best
my
Christmas
step,
movie of all time?
Yes, it
it's up
is.
there. It's you mean the best Christmas Harry Potter movie?
Okay.
Anyway,
Because listen,
uh,
if people can say that Home Alone is a Christmas movie, but they won't acknowledge that Die Hard is, Die Hard literally happens at a Christmas party. Home Alone
Yes.
doesn't. It's just
Yes.
around Christmas time and there's Christmas decorations where Die Hard is at a Christmas party.
I mean,
Yes.
technically, Christmas happens while the movie's going. You know, I'm just going anyway. Yeah, so I was like, my stepdad was like an he loved action movies like Van Damme and stuff like that, and I was never
Mm-hmm.
like into it. But like I would like I could sit down and watch comedies and sci-fi and other things for a long period of time, and like weirdly like I got introduced like Pretty Woman when I was relatively young for some reason. So like yeah, my mom had weird morals. I've stopped trying to figure it out. Like
That's a good one.
I saw Pretty Woman on VHS rented, but I couldn't own a CD with parental advisory. I go back and I'm like, as a parent now, I'm like, I feel like there was a missed opportunity. But again, 90s, it was okay.
Did they have you
Right,
watch
yeah.
Risky Business after?
No, no, Risky Business, but like I'd seen Cocktail.
Okay.
Like, in Grease. Like, I learned how to sing that song, one of the songs from Grease in third grade in music class, and I was like, I want to see this movie. My mom was like, yes, let's go rent it. So we went to Blockbuster and we rented it, and I was like, okay. Like, so that's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
a
That's the
weird
90s
thing.
though, man.
It was. So when I watched Die Hard, I was super excited because I was like, I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine and they couldn't stop talking about Die Hard. I was like, fine, I'm going to watch this.
Right.
And so I watched it. I really enjoyed it, but it was really weird because I was like, Snape, the accent's not doing it for me, bud.
Oh man. I'm sorry,
But
dude. Hans Gruber is such a good character.
he
That whole
is.
thing is so well done.
Yeah.
It is. It is very well done. I truly did enjoy the character because I can look past, an accent.
Hmm.
But and I also just love Alan Rickman because one of the first things that really got me into Alan Rickman though was Dogma.
I knew it. I knew you were going to go with that.
Have you seen Dogma?
I haven't. I'm vaguely aware. I have not seen it.
So, are you familiar with Kevin Smith?
Yes.
Imagine he did a movie about religion and it's got the same cast of people he's got and everything, but
Hmm.
like Alan Rickman is the voice of God.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's pretty good casting, honestly.
It is, and he's the voice of God. Chris Rock is the 13th apostle.
Okay.
Selma Hayek
There's
is the muse.
the Muse. Um, Loki is
Matt Damon.
and Bartleby is Batfleck. You have Azrael is Jason Lee. You
Oh,
got
wow.
George Carlin as I forget his name. It's like Bishop something. Yeah, like it's got a massively all-star cast. Like
Like,
but
what
it's
year was
like
this?
98.
99.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
yeah,
that's mostly
98,
that's when
99.
I was reading books. I was reading books in
So
1999.
what's funny is right, it's a
Yeah,
Kevin Smith movie, so it's a comedy. But
Right.
the plot is pretty much Loki and Bartleby are fallen angels, and they're trying to
Okay.
get back into heaven.
Okay. Gotcha.
they
Gotcha.
find a weird
But
loophole.
by loopholes. But if they get back into heaven, it pretty much undermines everything God stands for and will
Right.
like kind of destroy the universe.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
like if you think
Cool.
about it, it's a great premise for like a
Yeah.
movie,
No, that's yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's definitely a full on
It's
comedy.
It
Kevin Smith.
almost feels like it's a sort of a Neil Gaiman-y premise almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it got a lot of flack. There was a lot of boycotting that happened.
Oh, sure.
Fun fact: Kevin Smith was boycotting his own movie because people didn't actually know who he was at the time. So he was in the crowd boycotting, and he's like, "Yeah, that movie sucks. Don't go watch it."
Oh, that's
Or maybe you
funny.
should
He
go
would
watch
do
it
that.
because to see how bad it sucks. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, Alan Rickman's great in it. He's got some good one-liners and the whole
He's like
like
BFFs with Alanis Morissette. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, man, like there's a short list of actors that I would listen to just like read the dictionary, and he is
Yeah.
definitely on that list
Yeah.
for sure. Any voice
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
he wanted to do, just go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish now. I'm now thinking. I'm like, man, he would have been amazing to read the Harry Potter books on
Oh,
audiobook.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
yeah.
like that would have been good. I'm like, because I've been listening to Harry Potter books because we started introducing our 10-year-old to them. But we're doing the book and then the movie.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so we're listening. Like we were reading them, then we switched over to audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're listening to them on audiobook, and it isn't the same. But Will Wheaton read like Ready Player One, so I'm totally on board with like famous people reading super awesome
Yeah.
like actual books. Because for people like we go back, and I'm like, maybe I'll read it, maybe I'll listen to that. I won't read
Right,
it.
right, right.
Not obviously we're not reading, but I'll listen to that audio book. I'll listen to Will Wheaton read a book about 80s
Yeah.
pop culture. I'll
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well, how old was your sister when you showed her Die Hard? You said 18. How long?
I
I'm
I
sorry.
believe she was 18 at the time.
How long ago was this? I don't mean to date your
Oh
sister.
gosh, don't make me do math. This was years. What is she now? She's
Yeah,
about
Okay,
you're
she's
the
got to be
reader.
she's 23 now. So this was a while ago. This was in 2018.
that's not that long ago. All right, so
Well,
after Harry Potter, then
oh yes, oh
ultimately.
very much so. Yes, yes, yes.
So
So
when
she
she
knew him as Snape. Yeah.
what was her
Perfect.
thought when she saw him as Hans Gruber? Did she connect that
She
was Snape?
Oh no, she knew. I mean, she knew she
Okay,
knows who the act. I mean, she knows actors' names. She wasn't one of these people that just doesn't clock these things. But so she knew who it was. She'd just never seen him that young, and she said outright that he was also very attractive.
Right?
Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean, I'm like I could get that.
What,
I'll
what's
be honest though. You go.
what's crazy is you watch Die Hard with a Vengeance and you look at Samuel L. Jackson in that and you're like, holy crap! Like
Right.
he looks like a baby in that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That was before
Whereas I
he
think Die
fought
Hard
the
with a
snake.
Vengeance is like my peak Bruce Willis. Like that's him in my mind's eye. Anytime I think of Bruce
Yeah.
Willis, I'm thinking Die Hard with a Vengeance, Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get that, but for me, it's still the glorious original. It's just such a beautifully structured movie. I love it so
It's
much.
I love how it's so self-contained. It takes place in one day.
Hmm.
You know,
Yep.
there's a charm to that for me of a movie that can just wrap it all up in one day. It doesn't have to span days or weeks or
Hmm.
locations, right? It's
Right,
just
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
7 years.
you
And this
know.
is this is one of my things about a movie. If it can communicate, if it relies at times on face acting, where you can tell someone is coming to a realization or making a decision just from what they're doing with their face, I love that so much. That's one of my favorite things in a movie, and there's a lot of that in Die Hard from a lot of the
Yeah,
cast. It's really
yeah,
smart. They trust you. This is before the time when movies had to spoon feed you everything. They trust
yeah,
you to keep
yeah.
up and pay attention to the motives and what each person is deciding when you can see their gears turning.
And you
That's
got to
what I
look at
love.
the underlying story, right? You have Agent Powell, who is useless, who doesn't do anything in that entire movie, but gets credited.
Hmm.
But thank you. I think
Right.
I don't know if you watch Family Guy. You ever watch the parodies they do of like Star Wars and stuff?
I've seen the Star Wars ones, yeah.
Okay, well, for the Cleveland show, they did a Die Hard parody where they just did Die Hard one,
Oh
and
wow.
at the end, Bruce Willis's character and Agent Powell meet face to face, and Bruce Willis just looks at him and he's like, "You did absolutely nothing. You're completely useless," and just like walks away from him. But
Yeah.
let's be honest, the true hero of Die Hard is Argyle. Like
Oh
he
yeah.
saves the day, and he
Yeah,
does
he
not get enough
absolutely.
credit.
Yeah, no, he's a really fun character too.
Yeah, just everyone that's seriously one of my all time favorite movies, just because of like the story, the acting.
Yeah.
It's all wrapped up so well, and like you said, it doesn't
Yeah.
pander to the audience, and I can't
Right.
stand that stuff. Right?
I
Like
hate it.
don't treat me like I'm stupid. If I'm not smart enough, like Christopher Nolan movies, right? If I'm not smart enough to
Hmm.
understand your movie, then great, it's just not a movie for me.
Yeah,
But don't
that's okay.
don't spoon feed this stuff to me like like I can't understand. Like, treat me like an adult. Treat me like an intelligent human being, and let me
Right.
decide if
Right.
this movie's for me or not. And
Yeah.
that's what they are, and which is
And
beautiful.
like, yeah, and God forbid I should have to think and try to figure out what this movie means,
Yeah,
which is the fun part if you let yourself get into it.
yeah. Well, that's why. Like when I watch movies, I want to be left alone. Like, don't talk to
Right.
me for the next 90 minutes to 2 hours. I want to be
Hmm.
invested. And because that's what they're doing. Like, right, I got a couple teenagers in the house, and when
Hmm.
they're watching movies, they love horror movies, and I use air quotes because they'll be sitting there watching a movie like this, and I'm like, cut it out. Like,
Yeah.
listen, most of these movies they want you to invest your emotions in them, and you can't do that if you're not making a connection with the characters, and you can't make a
Yeah.
connection with the characters if your nose is in your phone or if you're talking to someone else or you're distracted.
Yeah. No,
So
I
like
agree.
my wife knows when I want to watch a movie, just kindly give me, the hour and a half to 2 hours to just watch it, and then we could talk afterwards. If you have any questions, ask me after or something like that.
Write
Like
them.
Right.
that's
Keep a journal. We'll
yeah,
recap
keep a
afterwards.
journal, But yeah, like I like being
What I tell
invested
my
because
10-year-old.
I like feeling things, right? That's why
Yeah.
so much with music and
And no
movies
hair.
like no hair. I want to
Yeah.
feel things, right? Like
Right.
I want to get invested. I want to tear up at the right moments and like get the
Yeah.
chills and like have that like that visceral reaction to the movie.
Because
And
like storytelling is supposed to be a mutual experience. Like the
yes,
creator's saying, I want you to feel what I'm feeling when as I'm feeling it, when I made this, the way I felt, what I was thinking about.
yeah,
That's
yeah, exactly.
It's
And
very intimate
why
like that.
that's why the
yes,
music is like that. That's why this is happening at that point.
Yeah.
This is why, this person is dressed this way so that you feel it.
Right.
And
well, that and
yeah,
like let their acting and their abilities shine through. You know what I mean? Like, did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bad's the best.
Okay,
That's
so
my
it's
that's my go-to example for when you can see them making decisions
yeah.
in their acting.
So, s- spoiler alert, even though it's been 10 years, one of the most impactful and moving scenes that I've ever seen is Breaking Bad when Hank realizes that Walter is Heisenberg.
Yes.
The emotion on his face where it's so overwhelming and like he doesn't know what to think or what to feel. Like in
Right.
that moment, like I had my eyes were welling up, I had goosebumps,
Right.
and like it's just the what he conveyed in just his facial expressions.
Yeah.
throughout the entire show, I never gave Dean Norris enough credit for his acting
No.
ability because
No, he's
Hank was
great.
kind of like a little fuck off character, right? Like he
Right.
was DEA, but you never really took him seriously. He kind of made the campy dad jokes and crack stuff like that. But then once I saw that, I was like, oh shit! Like
Right.
just like I can't think of his name all of a sudden. Bryan Cranston, right? You watch him in Malcolm in the Middle, and it's like, okay, yeah, he's a comedic actor. It's funny. But then you watch him in Breaking Bad, and most recently, he was on a show called Your Honor on Showtime. Phenomenal show if you've never seen it.
Good. I'm glad.
Very dramatic. It's kind of like one of those happenstance things, and where he's a judge, and something happens with his kid, and he's trying to like protect his kid, and like a lot of like dualities in it. But like Bryan Cranston is an amazing, like strong, dramatic actor, and it's like you never really like they can make you feel things. And it's wild because you watch him, as a guest star on Seinfeld, as the dentist and stuff like that, and his comeuppance, and it's all comedy, right?
Yeah.
Even though, funny story too is Bryan Cranston got his acting start doing the dating videos. That's how he broke into like showbiz. The old dating videos where like you would get mailed a tape. He'd be the one filming the people, interacting with them, trying to get them to open up and be themselves. And then he played a bunch of monsters on Power Rangers.
He did?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Those are two things that like
that.
opened up his door. Yeah, which is great because they brought him back for the Elizabeth Banks movie to play Zordon. So it's kind of funny how he went full circle with that.
See, I didn't know. I didn't make that connection because I was when that came out, it was like, how ridiculous is this that they have this amazing actor? It's like, what are we doing here? But now it at least means something.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I thought that was pretty cool that they brought that not career, but that franchise full circle to him. That was pretty cool.
It's like, okay, you get some points for that.
Yeah.
Power Rangers reboot.
It wasn't bad.
No, okay.
I mean, it wasn't good or great. Like, I've seen worse.
It was a good. It was a good premise. Like they had good ideas with it. Like I like the idea of Rita being the original Green Ranger and kind of fallen and all that stuff. I like that premise. But yeah, it was just like, oh, go find me teenagers with attitude. Oh, okay, I found them. Hey, learn to use your powers. No. And all of a sudden, hey, we can use our power. Like everything was just too coincidental and happened too quick without any explanation.
Right.
So there's like, don't pander to me and don't tell me the whole story, but give me some story, damn it. Don't just like
Doesn't it famously feature the line, have any of you ever morphed before?
Yeah. Something like that. Like,
haven't you guys done this before?
I've morphed twice a week.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I like how they tried to like make the characters modern, and I didn't dislike the choices they made for the casting, but yeah, the plot and the story, and it was just so surface level, and which sucks because I grew up on Power Rangers. I love Power Rangers. I got the freaking Dragon Dagger right there in the morpher.
Oh yeah.
And you can't read it, but the letters say, "In case of emergency, break glass."
Oh, that's funny. I love it.
So I'm dying for like an adult version. Power Rangers, and we're gonna get a version of that. I think this year with Legend of the White Dragon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely Power Rangers inspired because it was Jason David Frank's last movie that he did. They finished production and all that before he passed, but it looks like a serious modern take on Power Rangers, but not because of IP and legal stuff. So
yeah, well, let's see what they got.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm hoping.
The thing is, you have to go in with the expectation. Like you have to make sure you have correct expectations when you go into things like the Power Rangers reboot or anytime they reboot anything nowadays, like the 17 Turtles reboots. It's like, we're not going to get Kino, but, you know, I don't
Right.
know, give us something, right? Like, every reboot is going to end up being like, what were you hoping for? Like, what did you go into that? You know, Mike and I have talked about it a number of times already. It's like the people who went into like the Transformers sequels, and it's like, all right, well, what were you expecting? We're
Right.
expecting we're expecting an amazing Oscar performance. That's
Right.
never a thing Marky Mark's gonna do.
Yeah.
Um, he's a good actor, but he's
Shut your
only
mouth.
as good as people around him. Yeah, I'm more
Yeah.
look I'm more just worried about him actively coming and kicking my ass than me saying like, he's not like you know
Yeah.
he's in Massachusetts enough to the point where it's close enough. Anyway, like, but that's it. It's like, you go into the movie and you expect giant robots from outer space battling other giant robots for outer space for 2 hours. You're gonna have a fun time. If you go in looking for an Oscar performance with amazing character building and all of the
Mm-hmm.
things that you want in a real movie, then you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
That's why, like, even the Power Rangers reboot, I was like, it was entertaining. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Surface
I would,
level.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It does. Yeah, it does depend a lot on your expectations and what you hope to get out of it.
But I have
Okay.
high hopes for Beetlejuice too. Damn it.
All right. Well, again, we'll see. We
Which
gotta
they
wait
just
and see.
wrap filming right over in Vermont, just to the west of us.
Oh, they're wrapped now?
Yeah.
I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize they wrapped filming.
That's
Sweet.
what I heard.
Wow.
It could be wrong. That's what I heard.
I
But
don't know.
listen, Michael Keaton's back, so he's another one. I just want to give Michael Keaton a hug.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Yeah, I
everything
get
he
that.
does.
Are you gonna get Vulture? Or are you gonna get Batman? I'm pretty sure either one of them is gonna stab you.
But that's just it. Like
Or
he's got
Multiplicity. I don't know.
there's another guy
Yeah.
that has such huge range, right? And he seems like a nice, genuine guy. You know,
Yeah.
I'll watch anything he's in. You know, even the Need for Speed movie.
Yeah.
Jesse Pinkman was in it though, so I mean, you got two good ones right there.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Forgot about that.
I'm curious how they're doing the Twisted Metal movie.
TV show
Is it a TV show? I thought it was a movie.
I don't know.
with Falcon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Falcon and a Twisted Metal.
You mean anyway.
You're way out of my wheelhouse now.
We go back to Beetlejuice with Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes.
Oh, yeah, she's in it too, right? Jenna Ortega?
Yeah. Jenna
Nice.
Ortega.
Yeah, she's
That almost seems redundant.
she's Lydia's daughter in it, I believe.
She's really going for the awkward pseudo horror like trifecta here. So if
She's in her niche.
Yeah,
we got Addams Family, we got Beetlejuice. If we throw in, like, if they do a Craft reboot, I think she's got it. I think we can.
Oh,
for sure.
yeah.
Like, I think we could do that. I think if we gave her the Craft or something else from that time frame. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. I don't know. Heathers or something?
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. No, I can see it. Like, if they did that and Jenna Ortega was any of those, I'd be like, all right, you successfully reboot most of the '90s and '80s like weird pseudo horror things. We got it. All right, we could do this.
Yeah.
And I think everybody would be okay with that.
Yeah.
At least overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep saying it, but we'd have to wait and see.
It's true. We do have to wait and see, unfortunately. But, you know,
Such is life.
it is. It's life. Like, now I'll be honest, I've really wanted to watch it, Wishbone, before this episode, but now I'm kind of like, I don't know, I've got like a lot of stuff because of this to go back and watch, and I'm like, I don't know.
All our lists are longer now, right?
Yeah.
It's true. It happens.
For what it's worth, coming full circle, Wishbone episodes are very short. They're like 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe show your kids. I think it would be fun.
I think it would. I think my 2-year-old would have an absolute blast about a TV show around a dog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the entire thing he's just going woo 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 woo. and I will miss all the phenomenal writing and acting because of it. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's actually crossed my mind. I'm like, I should probably find a way to stream these on the TV so the kid could do it. What was it? Like yeah, I don't know. It's
My 5-year-old won't watch anything unless Spider-Man's in it or Mario. She's got
I
her
get that.
wheelhouses. She's all about Spider-Man
Yeah.
and Mario. And I'm
both
okay with it.
okay.
Yeah, because Daddy
Yeah.
will consume those and be happy.
Like
Yeah.
Captain
See,
Lou
that's a thing
Albino
you could share.
Mario.
No, I tried to get her to
Oh,
watch that. My daughter's weird. She's not huge into
I know.
cartoons. She's 5, and she's not huge into cartoons. Like I've tried to get her back into like the stuff that I grew up with. Like hey, let's watch He-Man, let's watch Ninja Turtles. She doesn't want anything to do with the cartoons, but she'll watch the 1989 Dolph Lundgren He-Man
Huh.
movie, and then she'll watch the 1990s Ninja Turtle movie live action, but not the cartoons. Spider-Man, she wants
Weird.
to see. She wants to see Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
so,
Huh.
so I'll throw that on for her. And it's like,
Oh, she's into bad acting. Got it.
yes,
Ah.
yes.
There you go.
But yeah, so it's weird, and I'm always like, kiddo, look at this. Daddy grew up with this. Look how fun it is, and she's just like, ah. But
Yeah.
Mario's good. We took her to the theater to see the Mario movie, and she loved that. So that was a huge plus on our end.
Yeah.
And she watched Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. So she's at least branching out into
Cool.
cartoons, but she's a huge Spider-Man. If she's awake, she's wearing her Spider-Man hat. Can't get her to take it off.
Aw.
She's got to be
I
wearing
mean,
it 24/7.
yeah. Young kids aren't known for the diversity of their tastes. Give it time.
Yeah, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, this
Good.
Spider-Man's not a bad choice. That's the
Well,
thing.
of course not.
And my wife gets mad because she's like, "Well, she likes your stuff, your nerdy stuff. Why can't she like Barbies and My Little Pony?" And I look at my wife and I'm like, "Hey, we've bought her Barbies, we've bought her My Little Ponies. I've tried to sit down and watch like Friendship is Magic with her and stuff like that. She wants nothing to do with it." I'm like, "This is not
Mm-hmm.
my active influence. This is my passive influence because she sees Daddy
Right. Right.
liking this stuff. It's
This
not me
is
showing her
genetic.
how to grow up." Yeah.
Can I do like the biggest faux pas right now, you guys?
Do it 100%.
I am rapidly approaching a stage where I can no longer form sentences, and I have to work tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's
no
fine.
worries. No worries.
That's okay. I
I'm
just realized
sorry.
I looked at the timer. I was like, we've been at this for an hour and
Yeah.
45 minutes. I mean, in all fairness, it's
Time flies,
11:15
right?
here. It does
Yes.
when you're talking about ridiculous stuff. I don't
Yes.
know what part of the country you're in, so I don't know what time it is there, but it's 11:18 here. So
Yeah.
uh,
It's 9:17 here, which is 17 minutes past my bedtime.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. And
Yeah.
we did one episode where we were up till 2:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh, what were you
That was
talking
rough.
about?
Music.
Oh, okay. All right, that I get. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was a rough one, but it's commitment to the craft, I guess you could say.
Yes,
We usually
that
try
I
and
get.
take it. We usually try and take it
we're
as long as
witches now.
yes, that's Jenna Ortega. As long as the conversation will take us, and as long as the guests will take us. So we do appreciate you taking us over your
We
bedtime.
do.
But before
No,
you go,
guys, this was awesome.
grace us and everybody with where they can find you and all the cool
What do
stuff
you got
that
coming
you're doing.
out?
Sure. So I would most recommend you looking me up on Instagram at Clara_Meath. Meath is Meath, but you can probably see it written in the text of the podcast episode. Look me up on Patreon, Clara Meath again. I'm revamping that, like I said earlier, so we're gonna have some cool stuff there. My newest graphic novel is Mother 47, published by Comics Experience Publishing. Um, yeah, look me up on the things.
Sweet.
Good stuff. Everybody definitely should. Well,
Thank you.
thanks for joining us, Claire. We had a blast. I hope you did too, and
I did.
we'll definitely continue to follow you and all your awesome art.
Thank you so much. You guys have been great. This is awesome.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. I don't know what you mouthed, but
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're muted.
I am. You're right.
Uh-oh.